USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
After a bipartisan deal came out of the U.S. House late last week, only to fall apart when it reached the Senate, now congressional leaders and White House officials say they are ready to close in on
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
After a bipartisan deal came out of the U.S. House late last week, only to fall apart when it reached the Senate, now congressional leaders and White House officials say they are ready to close in on a deal on a coronavirus relief package. They say that negotiations late yesterday on a $2 trillion arrangement will lead to a successful vote perhaps this evening. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Treasury Chief Steve Mnuchin both saying they were on the phone with President Trump during the negotiations, and they both agree that a deal is now within reach. Earlier yesterday, Schumer and other top Democrats are calling the package, as it had been designed, a
large corporate bailout with no protections for workers and virtually no oversight.
The U.S. now cutting $1 billion in aid to Afghanistan because of the failure of a peace plan with the Taliban. And this is USA Radio News.
Maybe you can relate to this. A lot of people think they're stuck with their health plan. It costs too much, or for whatever reason, they just don't like it. But great news, you are not stuck with it. There is a choice. It's called MediShare, and you could save so much. The typical savings for a family is $500 a month. Major difference maker. This is the affordable alternative to health insurance. And just to give you a little more info about MediShare, it's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. It's worked beautifully for 26 years, has more than 400,000 members, and they've shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So, yes, they can help share your needs, too. So you're not stuck. There's an excellent alternative. Whether you're single or married, you got a family, MediShare is super flexible. You can choose an option that works for you and start saving lots of money. You can join anytime. They're great to talk to. No pressure. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
President Trump trying to reassure Americans in the face of the coronavirus outbreak.
I want Americans to know that we will get through this challenge. The hardship will end. It will end soon. Normal life will return, and our economy will rebound very, very strongly.
President Trump speaking at the daily coronavirus briefing at the White House, making the point that America was not built to be shut down.
But right now, in the midst of this great national trial, Americans must remain united in purpose and focused on victory. To every single American, please know that the sacrifice you're making at this time is saving lives.
That report filed by USA Radio's Robin Walensky. Severe thunderstorms are expected to pound much of the South today, with heavy rain through this evening from eastern Arkansas to Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and parts of Georgia. And there could be some tornadoes. This is USA Radio News.
Here's your Georgetown forecast from the Hipp Radio Network Weather Center. Lots of sunshine outside today with highs around 86. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight. Lows level off around 56. Ample sunshine expected again tomorrow. Highs around 88. Partly cloudy skies Thursday. Clouds on the increase by Friday. Highs in the upper 80s. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 66 degrees.
Broadcasting worldwide from the Ashby Real Estate Broadcast Studio. This is Hipp Radio Network, Georgetown, your hometown station.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The switch is on. Welcome to Good Morning Georgetown with Rob and Ken. Waking you up in the mornings and getting your day started with the hottest hits, news, and jokes. Get ready. And now here's your hosts, Rob Hipp and Ken. Ken Covington.
Good morning, Georgetown. Boy, we were off and running this morning. It's funny you say off and running. We're not really off and running when it's 7:18 and we tell you we're going to be on at 7 a.m. But we like to keep you waiting and just keep you anxious for the show this morning. I'm excited because, even though we're in the midst of a lockdown, and it's coming, guys, I don't ever spread false or fake news here on Good Morning Georgetown, but it is coming. And in the midst of the fake news, well, it's not the fake news, in the midst of what's about to happen with the lockdown, which we're expecting to be announced later today here in Williamson County, we're on the show, and the show is going to continue because we want to continue to bring you a little bit of news and a little bit of fun things that are going on around town despite all of this. I'm excited this morning, though, as he's going to pop up on screen here in just a minute right next to me. It's almost like he's in studio, but he's actually 170 miles away. Here he is this morning, Mr. Garrick Long, joining us from Huntsville, Texas. Garrick, can you hear us out there this morning?
Good morning. How are you, Rob?
Hey, I just got to tell you, man, your voice is coming through very heavenly across the internet airwaves this morning.
Listen, it's this $20 mic I have. Honestly, let's just be realistic about it.
Well, Garrick, for those that don't know Garrick, which many of you don't here on this show, Garrick produces a lot of events for me back at KSAM in Huntsville, Texas on 101.7, does a fantastic job and makes my job a lot easier when I'm doing Sam Houston State broadcasts. And so, man, I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun, man.
Listen, it's a blast being here. I'm excited to be here. I just thank you for the opportunity to let me come on the show with you for the next 2 hours, and we can laugh and have some fun.
Well, you bet, man. We're in the midst of coming a little bit later today, of course. We're expecting a lockdown here in Williamson County. I don't want to say really a lockdown, but a shelter in place. We'll talk a little bit about that here coming up. But, Garrick, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. You're in Huntsville, Texas. For those that don't know where Huntsville is, let them know, kind of where that is, and tell us a little bit about yourself this morning, man.
Huntsville's a good hour north of Houston. So we're on the I-45 corridor. Me, myself, married happily, very happily married, 8 years, going on 9, 2 kids. I've got a full-time job. I've got fun things on the side. What people love to find out, though, they think this is funny. I'm the treasurer of my daughter's Girl Scout troop. That's probably the most important job I have. But right now we're nursing 6 mini Aussie puppies. We adopted a dog off the street, and 24 hours later, my wife's like, I think she's pregnant. Man, 3 weeks later, she pops out a litter of 6 puppies. And so we are to the point where we're at 5 weeks, and 1 more week we can adopt them out. But it never stops. And then last but not least, in the middle of all this crisis we're going through, my wife and I are trying to buy a house.
Oh my goodness. Are you guys going to stay there in Huntsville, or where are you looking at, man?
Yeah, we're looking at a small teeny tiny town just east of here called Phelps, even though it still has a Huntsville address. So house, 2 acres, enough for our horse. So crossing fingers, praying to God, just hoping everything goes nice and smooth through this, even though the waters are very treacherous.
Man, well, tell us a little bit. How'd you get into radio, man? And today you're just a co-host here with me. You're a friend. You're more than a co-host, man. I said just a co-host. I mean, you're a friend.
Just a co-host.
Garrick is a friend. I got to tell you, man, the way that you guys, and especially you, and I'm not taking away from anybody else. Jairus does an awesome job, and so does Emily, talking about producers there at KSAM. But, man, the work that you do with me and for me, I couldn't have those broadcasts as professional as they are down there in Huntsville with Sam Houston State, thanks to you. How did you get into radio, man? Tell us about that.
Honestly, it's a love at this point. I originally followed a young lady to Sam Houston State University when I was 18 years old. And I love the idea of radio. I was going to the Mass Comm building when I was signing up for classes. That's the goal I was going to. But when I got there, they were like, we no longer have a radio degree. And I was like, what? how could you do this to me? So it's always been a passion. I've always loved the idea of it. I never got to go through the classes and professionally do it. So everything I do now, I just do for fun. I went through rigorous training at KSAM to make sure that I could run the board there. And honestly, it was nerve-wracking at first because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. And so I want to make sure I get all the cues right and get you on there and not make you look stupid because it makes me feel stupid. But I just love the idea of it. I feel like radio is one of those things that is still free.
Yeah.
You can still just sit back, turn on a radio, drive somewhere, turn on the radio. Radio is free. All you have to do in this case is download the HRN app. I went cross Texas listening to the app, because it was good music. But once again, it was still free. And so
that's cool, man.
When we're sad, there's a song on the radio that we listen to that makes us feel better. When we're having a good time, there's a song that makes us feel upbeat. I think radio is just very powerful. And so my love and passion for that is what has me here today.
Well, I got to tell you, man, you're tremendously blessed there in Huntsville with the folks there at KSAM and Steve Everett and the leadership at that station and just the things, I've learned really with the Sam Houston State opportunity, Garrick. For me, that was kind of my first time doing Division I sports. A little sad that things didn't work out the way that we were hoping here, but, as far as this coronavirus, but we've got to protect everybody. But, man, you're tremendously blessed. You're working, they're part-time with easily one of the most recognized stations in the state of Texas, definitely in the southeast part of Texas. That station has been there for so long. It's my understanding Dan Rather worked at that station, man, and so it's pretty incredible.
I'm assuming he did at one point. I can't verify that, but going through the Dan Rather Masscom building, working through there, that was huge in itself. And just to put a little bug in people's ears, Morgan Chesney, I think I'm saying his last name right. He is now a national reporter for NBC.
Wow.
He went through the Dan Rather Masscom building. The dude's awesome. He's doing all kinds of different reports, traveling all over the world for him. He worked hard, but people listening, they need a place to go. Sam Houston State University is a great place to get an education, no matter which direction your degree is taking you.
Well, that's great, man. Well, again, we're chatting this morning with Garrick Long. It took me a whole minute because I was saying Garrett Long at the beginning, man. Garrick is a very unique.
Happens all the time.
It's a unique name. How did you get the name Garrick, man?
Garrick was actually my mom's maiden name.
Oh, cool.
So family derives from Germany. We were German Jews. Quick story, what I've grown up knowing is that my great-great-grandfather was a general for the German army. And when the Nazis came through, knocking on doors, collecting the Jews, the soldiers saw him and they were like, you've got an extra week to get out of town. And so they used all their money. They got out. Half went to the States, half went down to Australia. And that's where I come from.
That's pretty awesome, man. Well, appreciate you being here as my co-host this morning. It's always cool to have somebody like sitting right next to you. But we figured out, man, with this whole coronavirus situation, especially you being 180 miles away, I put out a post on Facebook last night. Josh couldn't be here this morning, and understandably so, Josh. If you're out there watching, man, you got to stay safe. And really, I'm at a point now, too, to where I just want to kind of be locked up here at the house and in the studio. I really don't want to get out anymore. We've had 4 confirmed cases now in Georgetown alone of the coronavirus. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. We kind of wanted to maybe talk about other things for a little bit, and that's why I'm so thankful that Garrick is here this morning, joining us as co-host today from Huntsville, Texas. There's so much going on with this. We've heard so much about it. We want to keep the public informed, and so we'll continue to talk about that here in just a little bit. But Garrick, down in Huntsville, man, Sam Houston State, there's a huge statue down there. Tell all the friends out there, once this coronavirus passes, you got to go to the statue. It's pretty awesome, and it's huge.
that the statue, I want to make sure I get this stat right. It is the largest statue of an American hero in the U.S. That, I think I've got that correct. It's probably a shame I don't know it more exact, but it is the tallest statue of an American hero in the United States. Actually, just recently we got done celebrating its 25th year anniversary of being up and about, and I was actually lucky enough to meet the gentleman who built the statue, David, and so I was blessed to be there. But for the Huntsville Chamber of Commerce, had lunch there. They had a General Sam Houston reenactor give us a speech. It was excellent. But I actually live spitting distance from there. I'm a good 5 minutes down the road from the statue. And I've actually got my girls trained now that every time we drive down 45, if we're leaving Sam Houston, my girls, they'll wave goodbye to Big Sam. And when we are coming back from Houston, back up to Huntsville, they'll say hi to Big Sam. They'll wave at Big Sam, and so, or they'll give the good bear cat symbol. So the statue plays an important part to this town. On top of it, they now have a miniature version of it on almost basically in the center of campus. So it's definitely something for us to be proud about up here.
And I think that they call that, there's a nickname. I was looking this up. It's a tribute to courage. And that's what they officially call the monument. I didn't know that, man. So that's pretty sweet.
He was an incredible man. Just like you, on how you've done so many things to revolutionize radio there in Georgetown. Look at this. I'm comparing you to Sam Houston.
No, don't be doing that, dude.
He's General Sam Houston did a lot for not only this town, but for the state.
Yeah, I'm pulling up a statue here. This is off of Wikipedia. We're showing it. Now, those of you maybe on the HRN app this morning, of course, if you're listening, you can't hear this. But this is, we're showing a picture of Sam Houston. We're trying to get away from coronavirus for a little bit this morning. We're taking a virtual tour of Texas here on HRN this morning. We're showing a picture now. This is off of Wikipedia of General Sam Houston. They're in the city of Huntsville. They dedicated the statue October the 22nd, 1994. This bad boy stands at 67 feet of just, we talk about a man who is just built with muscle a lot and real strong men. Garrick, it doesn't get any stronger than 64 feet of steel and concrete. Oh man, that's a man right there.
So what I'll also tell you is that if you do make your way over this way, for those of you in Georgetown, if your travels ever bring you this way, we have an excellent national forest that you can go camp in. But just don't park on the side of 45 to go take a picture. I see it all the stinking time. There's signs that say do not park. All you have to do is get right off of that exit, go right back around, park in the parking lot of the Sam Houston Visitor Center, the Sam Houston Statue Visitor Center, and then you can just go get your picture. And they actually have a bust back in the trails to get to the statue. They have a bust that's taller than me of just General Sam Houston's face that you can take a picture with as well. There's more than just a statue there, but be safe. Don't park on the side of 45.
Yeah, and how's all the construction going, by the way, there on 45? They're doing a lot of work. 45 is a highway we're talking about here with Garrick Long in Huntsville, Texas, who's joining us today as our co-host. 45 runs, there on the east side of Texas, of course, goes all the way down to Houston, through Huntsville, back up through Nacogdoches, that whole area, Lufkin. How is the construction? There's been a lot of accidents. Here in Georgetown, Garrick, just north of us, just north of Jarrell, actually, a little town called Salado, they were doing a lot of work on I-35. A lot of accidents were on that stretch of highway when they were working on it. That's kind of been a similar situation there with I-45 in Huntsville.
It's so bad. I feel bad because my wife's an EMT. She works down in Houston. She's on the front lines of all this right now. She's got to drive that back and forth going to work. Luckily she works at least 8 days a week just because she runs 24-hour shifts. But it is from Huntsville to New Waverly. It's a small little town just south of us, is where it's at its worst. It's just they're constantly changing the lanes. They're constantly switching up. It gets so bad. A buddy of mine, his wife, she got in an accident with an 18-wheeler The 18-wheeler kind of just crushed her into the barrier, and so she's currently doing physical therapy on her left hand because she lost all use of it, and so she's getting it back now. But just it's that serious. There's always wrecks every single day. It's so bad. It's just the lanes are too tight. They've made them just too small for what they're trying to do. It's not the safest.
Well, as we talked to Garrick Long here this morning, we're talking to Garrick out of Huntsville, Texas, as our co-host. Thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Georgetown. A little bit of breaking news coming in here just a few moments ago. You know, the Olympics were slated to take place in Tokyo this year. The Prime Minister there now proposing a one-year postponement for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics during talks with the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, Japan's public television reporting. Abe said a postponement is unavoidable if the 2020 games cannot be held in a complete manner amid this coronavirus pandemic. Abe held telephone talks with Bach after the IOC said it would make a decision on the Tokyo games over the next 4 weeks. You know, I think it's a smart move, Garrick. I'm not an expert in all this. We had Dr. Chow Wen here from Akna Health in Georgetown on the show yesterday. But, man, I got to tell you, I really don't know if we're going to get back to school here this year. You know, just with the way things are, we've talked to some medical professionals that really feel like, you know, this isn't going to be a 1 or a 2 month deal. It's going to be a little bit longer than that. I told you we weren't going to talk about it, but now we will because it'll just lead right into it. What's the situation down there in East Texas? Are you guys on shelter-in-place order? Is the Houston area? Tell us about that, Garrick.
So right now, Galveston County, so obviously Galveston Island, Galveston County is in a shelter-in-place. It's my understanding that Harris County, which is Houston, will go to a shelter-in-place sometime this morning. Right now in Huntsville, for Walker County, we currently have a curfew. It's really not that bad for normal people, but the curfew is midnight to 5 a.m., essential travel only. I was talking with a friend of mine last night who runs the social media for one of the major community unions out here, and he was telling me that he's expecting it, and that he's just waiting for it to come through. I don't think we'll hear about it this morning for Walker County. I think we'll hear it in another day or two because we've been just slightly behind the curve with everybody else. What is surprising, though, is that one of the most cases I've heard of is just south of us in Montgomery County. We only have one confirmed case in Walker County. Thank God.
Is it there in Huntsville, or where is it at?
I'm assuming so.
They haven't released that information.
Something that they don't necessarily release, but if you think about it, we're the hub of Walker County as it is.
Gotcha.
I'm just guessing. I'm assuming it might have been a college student who was traveling and has come back now because school started back up for them, even though it's all online. So with this, we've got that one confirmed case. Now, they did say about 29 people went in with the symptoms, but none of them were confirmed. But just south of us in Montgomery County, they have over 15 confirmed cases. You know, that's probably the strongest hub of the confirmed cases around the Houston area. So that's personally, I find that surprising. But also at the same time, I know they're working hard down there to keep it contained as it is. Luckily for them, they've got some great hospitals down there.
What has been the mindset with you? You know, here in Georgetown, as we're talking to Garrick Long this morning, our guest host here on Good Morning Georgetown, joining us from Huntsville, Texas. What has been the mindset down there in Southeast Texas? You guys are close to Houston, of course. It's about, an hour away, if I'm not mistaken, just north of Houston on 45. With that huge population center, Garrick, we're talking about a town with millions of people, you know, not as many as New York City, of course, where they're having a really difficult time right now. But what has been the mindset of our friends such as you down there in Southeast Texas, man, so close to Houston?
For me personally, I don't want this to sound bad, but I'm not as worried because of how far we are. Not as many people need to travel to Huntsville. But anything from Conroe south of us, you know, there's constant movement, constant travel. People really need to heed the warnings of just stay at home. You don't need to be out and about. You're not missing anything, you know. it's unfortunate because I personally I'm the store manager of a retail store here in town, and we're having unfortunately my store is going out, but we're having a massive closing sale, and just people are coming out of the woodworks to come buy stuff. And I'm just looking at them and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Why are y'all here? You know what blew my mind yesterday? This couple, they brought in their newborn.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just thinking, what in the heck are you doing? This newborn had to be under 6 months.
Yeah, man.
I would dare say under 4 months. And I'm just thinking, you have this child out in the middle of all this? You've got to be kidding me. It blew my mind. Some people aren't taking it serious enough, and they're probably laughing at the government for taking it too seriously. But, I read this thread on Twitter the other day, just talking about the numbers and the analytics to it, about how if we weren't taking it so seriously, how bad it could actually get. And the numbers that they proposed were 3 times worse than the Holocaust for just America. And then the other set of numbers were 5 to 6 times worse than the Holocaust for just America. If we weren't taking this seriously, we could be just like Italy, if not worse right now.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the issues, is that Italy didn't take it serious at first. And there's some, and we won't get into a political discussion because I'm on the edge of saying, hey, I believe that our government actually is handling this pretty well, as best as they can do, and they're making. And hopefully today, the only thing I will say is they need to quit the bickering and figure out, this $2 trillion stimulus that's expected to have a favorable vote. They worked into last night. Parties on both sides have reportedly, tentatively, I can't even say it, have came to an agreement that there should be a positive vote on that. But, here's the thing, man. I think that's based on 2018 income. I've looked at some of that bill or the proposal. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but some of the early things that they were talking about was based on a 2018 income, and then also if you made $75,000 or less. So those that have made more than that may not get a dime. Don't take that for a grain of salt. That was just the initial parts of that bill, that the stimulus package that they were talking about. And so, we'll see how it works out. I think it's going to be one of those deals where it's going to help a lot of people, and then there's going to be other people that it may not help at all. And that's why it's so important right now. And I'm saying this to all of our Georgetown friends. I'm saying it to all the friends back in Huntsville, Texas, that may be watching Garrick this morning, that's here on the show with us. That's why it's so important that we have to work together. And even though we have recommendations and guidelines from the government that we really need to listen to, as you can tell, that's why Garrick's on webcam this morning, and why we don't have anybody in studio here with us. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to us taking those warnings seriously, but then just as important, and maybe more importantly, working with each other to help each other out. And I really believe, Garrick, we've got to put all this political divide away for it, because I'm still seeing it. And in fact, there's some news that I just decided I'm going to turn off completely because it's still so political that really it's going to be up to us. And that's why I love the local communities. One reason, Garrick, I love Huntsville so much is it reminds me a lot of Georgetown. Now, of course, we don't have a big prison right downtown. but and I love, by the way, I love I'm not knocking. I love driving to Huntsville. In fact, when I come to Huntsville, man, I purposely drive downtown by the prison. I love driving next to that prison, man. It is just an awesome sight. But we got to come together as a community, and that's what's so important about Georgetown and Huntsville, man, is we're community-driven locations, and I love that.
Oh, absolutely. So my wife and I moved back here of January of 2019. And when people got wind that I was back in town, I had full support from them. And that's what was beautiful about it. It was people I hadn't seen in 4 years were coming out and be like, Garrick, we're so happy you're back. We missed you. And I was like, seriously? Hey, this is great. I haven't gotten this nice of a welcoming in a long time. So the Huntsville Chamber of Commerce, I'm an ambassador with. We're a strong community that are supporting local businesses. And then you talk about the prison. The Walls unit is the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the oldest one. That's the most classic one. That's where they do the executions. But I understand what you're talking about, how you like driving by it, because even though it is a prison, it's actually a beautiful piece of construction, because it's pure brick. It's over 20 feet tall. It's what you imagine in those classic prison movies. It's definitely something to look at. And you talk about prisons. We have 7 of them in our immediate vicinity. There's actually one behind the Sam Houston statue. There's another one up 45, and they're all around us. So.
And they've got the museum there. And that's, of course, where Texas Department of Criminal Justice, I guess their main operations are out of the Huntsville unit. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so the majority of their functions are based out of here. They have each of the wardens stationed at each of the prisons, of course, but one of the main hubs is actually, they took over our mall. I wouldn't say they own, but they're renting out half of the mall that we have here for all of their offices for anything and everything.
Wow. And that's one of the biggest employers too, is the Texas Department of Criminal Justice there.
Yep, you've got TDCJ, and then you've got Sam Houston State University. Those are two largest employers. Unfortunately, I'm not going to knock them because they provide so many jobs, but also with them being government, I guess you could say, or state, it actually doesn't provide a lot of taxes for our schools. It's probably one of the biggest issues. So we're trying to bring as many employers or many national chains in as possible, just to help bring in some tax dollars.
Looks like I was reading here. I'm showing it on Wikipedia for those that are on Facebook Live, but a prison that opened in 1849. And that's pretty cool, man. That's one thing, like I was saying earlier, I really do enjoy driving. When I come into Huntsville, I love driving by that prison. I purposely drive by the prison. One, to keep me to keep me ready, to keep me on edge, to make sure that I know that there's guys up there in those towers, man, and it just keeps me from wanting to run crazy, Garrett. No, I'm just kidding, man.
Absolutely, man. Hey, fun fact, Dog the Bounty Hunter was locked up in the Walls unit.
Wow. I had no idea. You brought up a good point, because I think a lot of folks, even me, before I really got to know folks in that area, thought about that Walls unit, that everybody in there was on death row, and that's not the case. I mean, there's 20,000 or so, I believe, that are in that prison. Is that correct?
I know they have 4 cell blocks. I just don't know how many cells within each block.
I got you. Maybe that's the number's a little bit high. There's a joke there in town, because you guys in Huntsville, it's about a population of 42,000 or so. There's a joke that's like, I don't know where all these people live, because the joke was 20,000 of them go to Sam Houston State. The other 20,000 are in prison. So where's the rest of them?
Now, other cool things that you can see, that if you are a fan of, it's hard to say that you're a fan of the prison system, but if you're interested in the history of it, I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
We actually have a prison museum just north of town, off of 75 and 45.
And you get to see old Sparky.
Sparky.
Yeah. Do you get to sit in old Sparky and test it out?
No,
okay,
not at all. You cannot sit in old Sparky. But it's pretty cool going through there, seeing how the prison system has evolved over time. We used to have a prison rodeo. I wasn't here for it, but I've heard amazing stories about it, that this was probably the best thing about the prison, is that right outside the Walls unit, they had a stadium and they had a prison rodeo. And, famous people actually used to go sing at the prison rodeo, just because of how long ago it was and how big of an event it was. Don't quote me, but I even think Dolly Parton sang it once.
Really? Wow, that's pretty cool, man.
I'll look this up and I'll confirm that. But I've seen pictures of the stadium full. The prison rodeo. They've even talked about bringing it back because they need something. But it's definitely, it was something huge. When you go through the prison museum, you'll see all kinds of pictures. Like, they've got a section just on the prison rodeo.
So I'm looking here, Garrick, as you said that. I'm reading an article here. This is from the Houston Chronicle, October the 8th of 2019. As I'm looking through this.
That's my birthday.
Really? Okay. Well,
October 8th.
Well, going back to October, happy birthday, Garrick. Happy birthday back in October, buddy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I'm looking here, and I want to say that I just saw some information about, not only Dolly Parton has been there, and this is all according to this, but the prison rodeo was launched in 1931 during the Depression. So, see, that's another time. And, hey, by the way, I mean, this is – if the Dow drops below, I think it is 18 and stays below 18,000, we're going to eclipse an even greater loss in the stock markets than we did in the Great Depression, which is just unfathomable. But this rodeo started during the Depression years. People were getting together. It was held at the baseball park outside the Walls unit. We're talking with Garrick Long here out of Huntsville, Texas. We're talking about the Texas Prison Rodeo. And Dolly Parton, here's some stars that were there. Check this out. Man, 1951 was the starstruck year. Eddie Arnold, Guy Willis, Curly Fox, and Texas Ruby. That started a yearly attraction or tradition which attracted stars such as Johnny Cash. Dude, that is awesome. Ernest Tubb, Johnny Rodriguez. I love getting to say that. Johnny Rodriguez, Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, George Strait, Tom T. Hall, and the list just goes on and it never ends. That is unbelievable talent coming through Huntsville, Texas.
Absolutely, man. It's funny you say that because Shenanigans is now where all the talent goes through. But shout out to my old business that I love. When a college student going out for drinks, largest dance floor in East Texas.
What is this? What was this again? The largest dance floor in East Texas?
Yeah, dude.
Which one?
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Oh, we were in front of. Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, but you're right. So many people have gone through that prison rodeo. It's not just like rednecks and hillbillies getting together on a Friday night. This thing, the prison rodeo, became huge. It became an attraction. It was entertainment for families who love the country life. And then obviously you just listed off amazing singers and amazing talent that came through here, but speaking of Huntsville and talent and Shenanigans, we all know the name Cody Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He is born and bred Huntsville, Texas. He actually used to work full-time in the prison system for TDCJ. He was a corrections officer for them, and he was doing his music on the side part-time while working.
It's crazy because this is giving me goosebumps, Garrick, this morning. I'm serious, because as you were just talking about Cody Johnson, I was just thinking about the program, the song Dear Rodeo.
Oh,
and I was like,
yes.
I said, I wonder if there's any relation to Dear Rodeo. And then you're talking about Cody Johnson being in Huntsville and working there. Maybe that, honestly, that song may have, kind of started from that.
I don't know how long the
That's
prison
cool.
rodeo's been gone for.
Since 86. Yep, 86, yeah.
I think Cody Johnson's probably just a couple of years older than I am, I think. So I don't know if he ever got to personally experience it himself. But I do know he is a true cowboy. He doesn't walk around he doesn't walk around in his jeans and his belt buckle and his cowboy hat for fun and for looks. That is genuinely who he is. I had the pleasure of meeting his dad just a few months ago, and I basically fanboyed with his dad, just he's coming in trying to buy a freezer, and I'm like, let's just talk about Cody Johnson some more, okay? But no, it's great, I used to watch Cody Johnson open up for these other people at Shenanigans, and he's now bigger than all of them. It's absolutely incredible. He is truly a product of just working hard, and being faithful, and just going out there and putting a good product. My wife and I love his songs.
Well, it's cool because I never would have known it, and we play a lot of his music here on HRN. We blend it up, of course, country, pop, classic rock. Sundays it's contemporary Christian, a little church service in there, man. So you never know what you're going to get here on HRN. But, you know, we play some Cody Johnson. That song, Dear Rodeo, is still one of the top songs right now. And talking about the rodeo there in Huntsville, the prison rodeo, the last rodeo that was held there, it was on October the 26th, 1986. Now, that's the prison rodeo. They still have the main rodeo, correct? That's the big one.
Correct. Yeah, the Walker County Fair and Rodeo. What's actually sad is that was supposed to be going on right now. It was an event they had to cancel. We had actually signed up our 8-year-old daughter to be part of their princess competition. So,
oh man,
we were sad. My mother-in-law was sewing her outfit together for it. You know, going all out for it.
Well, the last rodeo that was held there, prison rodeo, October the 26th, 1986. I'm reading this off of the TexasPrisonMuseum.org, txprisonmuseum.org. The fans, including several hundred inmates, were entertained by the mother and daughter duo, the Judds. That is awesome. Following the day's performances, the chute gates were closed for good due to costly renovations that the prison system said were necessary to the arena stands. The rodeo was shut down after 1986. Of course, there's been discussions to bring that back. And here's the thing, for those that are just joining us on Good Morning Georgetown, I'm talking to Garrick Long out of Huntsville, Texas. He produces for me on KSAM 1017 when I do Sam Houston State football and basketball. He's on as our guest host this morning. We're talking about the prison rodeo down in Huntsville that used to go on until 1986. Friends, this is inmates getting on and being a part of the rodeo. I mean, that's just crazy to think about. I'm looking at pictures here. The inmates are in their jumpsuits, basically, in their stripes, riding bulls. One of them's called the Mad Cow Scramble event. If there's anybody that's on the Good Morning Georgetown Facebook stream right now, there's a lot of folks on it, but if you've been to that rodeo, man, I would love to hear from you. Send us a comment. Let us know that you have actually been to that rodeo because that is just unbelievable. I couldn't imagine going out there and seeing guys in their striped, in their black and white stripes and basically jumpsuits out there riding these bulls and the cow. It's just unbelievable, man.
Yeah, nothing changed for the inmates, man. Just because they got to participate in the rodeo, it's not like they got to put on a pair of blue jeans and some cowboy boots, man. They were genuinely just going out there to have fun and to do something out of the norm instead of going back and forth from their prison cells. But some of these guys, they were pretty talented because they drew a crowd. It wasn't until what you said 20 something years later to where they actually started bringing in real talent to play at these things. And so for some of these people, they had to be good to draw the talent, and that's what eventually brought the singing talent to the town.
Yeah, well, that's cool, man. Well, Garrick, are you going to stick around with us for the next hour? Do you got to go, man? I've enjoyed you being here.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to be here. I'm going to take a break while you bring on your next guest. I have to go feed those 6 puppies and my 2 children, but I'll be back in a little bit.
Well, we're going to take a break as well. The time now is 7:56 a.m. We'll be back on at 8 a.m. with Rachel Hancock of Something Social. She's going to talk about what she is doing to bless a lot of businesses here downtown, especially with a project that she has been working on. So we're going to talk about that. And we're very excited to have her on, and she'll be chatting around the 8-ish. We like to say ish here on HRN,
ish.
So the 8-ish hour. But for now, though, we're going to step aside. The time now is Boeing 757. See, they could be a sponsor, right, Garrick?
Listen, that would be a great sponsor for HRN.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
Absolutely, man. Hey, they can cover your weather.
That's right, man. We're going to step aside, take that break. When we come back, we'll have Rachel Hancock and more. Make sure to stay with us, friends. We're going to take a break. You'll hear the latest U.S. headlines. It'll be about a 5 to 7 minute break. Then we'll be right back. This is Hip Radio Network, Georgetown, your hometown station. Thanks for waking up with us, Georgetown. We'll be back here in just a few moments.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes. USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
After a bipartisan deal came out of the U.S. House late last week, only to fall apart when it reached the Senate, Now congressional leaders and White House officials say they are ready to close in on a deal on a coronavirus relief package. They say that negotiations late yesterday on a $2 trillion arrangement will lead to a successful vote perhaps this evening. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Treasury Chief Steve Mnuchin both saying they were on the phone with President Trump during the negotiations, and they both agree that a deal is now within reach. Earlier yesterday, Schumer and other top Democrats are calling the package, as it had been designed, a
large corporate bailout with no protections for workers and virtually no oversight.
The U.S. now cutting $1 billion in aid to Afghanistan because of the failure of a peace plan with the Taliban. And this is USA Radio News.
Maybe you can relate to this. A lot of people think they're stuck with their health plan. It costs too much, or for whatever reason, they just don't like it. But great news, you are not stuck with it. There is a choice. It's called MediShare, and you could save so much. The typical savings for a family is $500 a month. Major difference maker. This is the affordable alternative to health insurance. And just to give you a little more info about MediShare, it's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. It's worked beautifully for 26 years, has more than 400,000 members, and they've shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So yes, they can help share your needs too. So you're not stuck. There's an excellent alternative, whether you're single or married, you got a family. MediShare is super flexible. You can choose an option that works for you and start saving lots of money. You can join anytime. They're great to talk to. No pressure. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
President Trump trying to reassure Americans in the face of the coronavirus outbreak.
I want Americans to know that we will get through this challenge. The hardship will end. It will end soon. Normal life will return, and our economy will rebound very, very strongly.
President Trump speaking at the daily coronavirus briefing at the White House, making the point that America was not built to be shut down.
But right now, in the midst of this great national trial, Americans must remain united in purpose and focused on victory. To every single American, please know that the sacrifice you're making at this time is saving lives.
That report filed by USA Radio's Robin Walensky. Severe thunderstorms are expected to pound much of the South today, with heavy rain through this evening from eastern Arkansas to Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and parts of Georgia. And there could be some tornadoes. This is USA Radio News.
You know, I've told you I get the best sleep of my life with my MyPillow, but I'm not the only one. Mark in Las Vegas told me the other day, we were talking on other business, he says he went to MyPillow.com, clicked on the radio listener special, and used the promo code USA. He got a great deal on a MyPillow, and he is enjoying his sleep now. You can too. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special, use my promo code USA, and I promise you, you'll get the best sleep of your life, or you get your money back.
A key Federal Reserve policymaker predicting pretty bad things about the nation's economy. For one thing, James Bullard, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, says the unemployment rate could hit 30% this year as a result of the pandemic. And he says the economy could also see a 50% drop in gross domestic product in the second quarter of the year. But looking ahead, Bullard does say he would expect the economy to then start to rebound sometime later this year. Kent State University canceling the May 4th shooting commemoration because of the outbreak. University officials announcing that all 50th anniversary events have been canceled. A virtual program, though, is in the works so that the school can honor the 4 students who were shot and killed by National Guardsmen during a Vietnam War protest on campus back in 1970. And Amazon is trying to help keep kids entertained while they're in quarantine because of the pandemic. The company has made most of its kids' shows and movies free, from certain TBS shows to a list of nearly 100 family-friendly movies. To access all the free movies and shows, you just sign in with a valid Amazon account. And you can log on and check us out online at usaradio.com. For USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
This is the National Daily.
Welcome to March 24th, 2020 on the National Day calendar. Today we celebrate our favorite flick sidekick and a brawl in the city of brotherly love. More after the break from our founder, Marlo Anderson.
If you have a reason to celebrate every day, why not share it with the world? Our Celebrate Every Day t-shirts and gear spark conversations wherever they go. And you never know where a good conversation can lead you. Join the Celebration Nation by picking up your own feel-good wear on our website, nationaldaycalendar.com.
A trip to the movies just isn't complete without an assortment of snacks. Popcorn is a given, but a true connoisseur knows that chocolate-covered raisins are where it's at. Raisinets are number 3 on the list of all-time best-selling candies, with over 1 million of them produced every hour.
Wow.
But hey, they're not just a candy. There's a raisin in there. So it's kind of like eating fruit, right?
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
On National Chocolate-Covered Raisin Day, celebrate the healthy side of movie snacking.
The Philadelphia intersection of East Passaiunk and South 9th Street is home to a fierce battle. But it's not a beef over sports or politics. This fight is about cheesesteak. Located across the street from one another, these rival restaurants, Pat's and Gino's, are the two most famous cheesesteak contenders. Locals have drawn sides on which is the best, but on one thing they agree. When you order, you gotta say whiz wit or whiz without. If you're not from Philly, here's the tip. The cheese on the cheesesteaks is usually cheese whiz. Wit means you also want onions. Without means you don't. Though you don't need to travel to Philly to celebrate National Cheesesteak Day. If yous do, order like yous know what you're talking about. Marlo, what's going on tomorrow?
Hey, it's a great day tomorrow. It's Egg Day.
Oh.
So all the food we ate, right? And it's also National Little Red Wagon Day.
I love that.
Did you have one as a kid?
Yeah, of
Me
course.
too. Learn more by following us at nationaldaycalendar.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And thanks for joining us on our journey as we celebrate every day.
See you again tomorrow.
Here's your Georgetown forecast from the Hip Radio Network Weather Center. Lots of sunshine outside today with highs around 86. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight. Lows level off around 56. Ample sunshine expected again tomorrow. Highs around 88. Partly cloudy skies Thursday. Clouds on the increase by Friday. Highs in the upper 80s. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 66 degrees.
Broadcasting worldwide from the Ashby Real Estate Broadcast Studio. This is Hip Radio Network, Georgetown, your hometown station.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The switch is on. Welcome to Good Morning Georgetown with Rob and Ken. Waking you up in the mornings and getting your day started with the hottest hits, news, and jokes. Get ready. And now here's your hosts, Rob Hipp and Ken Covington.
Welcome back, Georgetown, and good morning to those of you that are just joining us. Thanks for being part of your program this morning. I'm Rob Hipp, studio host. Ken Covington not here this morning. Garrick Long is with us from Huntsville, Texas. Here in just a few moments, we have our good friend here on the show as well. Rachel Hancock will bring her in here in just a few moments from Something Social, talking about what she's doing in an awesome project to help benefit businesses here in Georgetown. Well, today there's been reports last night from KXAN and across the Austin media. No official release yet here in Williamson County, but that is expected a little bit later today, saying to expect a shelter-in-place order for Travis and Williamson County. Again, this coming from KXAN last night, as Travis and Williamson County residents counties will issue dual orders Tuesday for all residents to shelter in place, furthering restrictions on movement and social interaction as local cases of the coronavirus continue to climb. 14 confirmed cases here in Williamson County now, 4 of those here in Georgetown. That's why it's so important, friends, that you really heed these warnings. And one reason why you're going to see on this show, at least for the time being, we're not going to have in-studio guests. We're just going to do it all remotely and through conferencing like we've been doing here. And so that is what we're working on. We'll keep it updated here. But we want to talk more about what's going on in Georgetown, specifically in the business community, and now joined by my good friend and a friend of many here in Georgetown, Miss Rachel Hancock. Rachel, can you hear us this morning?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Hey, well, I appreciate you being on the show this morning. I was talking to you just a few days ago and saw some really awesome things that you are working on to really help bless the business community here in Georgetown. Before we get into that, Rachel, you've been here in Georgetown for a while. If I'm not mistaken, didn't you go to Southwestern University?
I did. I graduated from Southwestern, yes.
Awesome. Well, and Southwestern is really just been an integral part of Georgetown over the years and really starting. I mean, it's been, let's be honest, it was in Georgetown before Georgetown was official. When Georgetown was founded in 1848, I think Southwestern was 1840. So you've got a university that's 8 years in the running before Georgetown was official. So, well, Rachel from Something Social. Rachel, talk a little bit just about kind of your background and how you got to Georgetown, of course, through the university, and just tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah, I guess I came across Southwestern University after graduating from Blinn in Brenham.
Awesome.
Some of my professors there said Southwestern would be a perfect fit. So I made my way here, spent a few years there, graduated, and then became a part of the community. I worked at Painting with a Twist for a few years and really loved the idea of marketing it and telling the story of this small local business, and became part of the chamber, became part of a B&I group. And I very quickly learned that everyone here is very caring and respectful and will do anything for their friends and family in town. So I decided to start a business of my own. It specialized in social media marketing. And after a few years of that, I realized video and photography was really my main passion. And fortunately, that stuff works very well on social media, better than, as you know, better than just text or regular posts. So it's been a lot of fun connecting with local business owners to tell their story on social media, websites, wherever a video or photo can live. But more personally, another great thing about Southwestern, that's where I met my husband, Zane Hancock. We've been married for about, going on 5 years. We met 9 years ago. And we have our son, Miles, who is almost 2, and Kennedy, who is almost 13.
Wow, that's awesome. Man,
Yeah.
that is cool stuff. Well, we're talking to Rachel Hancock this morning of Something Social here in Georgetown. She's been in the community a long time. She's been vested in this community with her business, a graduate of Southwestern University. Rachel, you know, this whole COVID-19 situation has a lot of people on their toes, and just from your perspective, and we'll talk here in a little bit about what you're doing to really help businesses downtown and throughout Georgetown, but from your perspective as a mom, kind of what is your mindset and how are you and your family coping with the situation right now, especially with your 13-year-old and then your little one?
Yeah, big gap, I know. So I'll be honest, I didn't take it seriously quick enough. However, my husband was very well prepared. He knew what was happening, and he prepared our family. I give him total responsibility of getting us prepared for this. When it did hit home, my first reaction was, of course, stress and anxiety and what happens now. My second response was, what about our community? Like, sure, we're set up nice and comfortable, and I work from home anyway, so it wasn't much of a transition for me. And my husband is able to work from home, which we're very fortunate about. So we're comfortable, but what about my community, my friends, the people that I know who own businesses on the square or around Georgetown? How are they going to deal with this? So I saw a lot of support with people posting about what restaurants are doing or what sales are going on or curbside and delivery options. I saw businesses get really creative on how they could still run their business. And I thought, how can I be a part of that? And my video appointments and my photography sessions, they were all getting canceled, postponed, and delayed because we weren't getting together. You know, you can't take a video of someone if you're not with them.
Yeah, for sure.
So when I saw my calendar, I remember texting my mom the picture of my calendar last month where every day I had 3 or 4 things. And then I went to my calendar and there were 2 or 3 weeks of just blank nothings, dates with nothing on them. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? I can't just sit back and relax. So the idea of painting or creating something that could help our local businesses, I came across that idea and just kind of chewed on it for a bit. I remember talking to Zane, my husband, saying, if I could create something that people could purchase and then all that money could go back to the businesses, I think that could really make a big difference for my local business owner friends. And then now I guess it's been a week maybe of doing this, and I have about 10, 11, maybe 12 locations painted, and I plan on doing all the ones on the square and in the historic downtown area.
That's beautiful. We're talking to Rachel Hancock this morning here on Good Morning Georgetown of Something Social. So not just the video skills, of course, Rachel, not just the photography skills, but the watercolor skills. I didn't know that you knew this. This is unbelievable. I'm showing one right now on the screen that I believe that is All Things Kids. And so that is just beautiful what you're doing here. Talk a little bit more. You've mentioned some of it. For those that are just joining us, talk to us a little bit more, just really, how this works, if people really want to help out these businesses and kind of how all that works, Rachel.
So I am updating my Facebook, both my personal Facebook and my business Facebook, Something Social. I'm updating those with new prints, new ads, and new giveaways. But if you want to purchase, you go to my website, somethingsocial.video/shop. You can find the link on my Instagram. You can find the link on Facebook. That's the best way. If you go to somethingsocial.video, click shop, you'll see all the prints that are available now. They're updated every day with new locations. So how it works is you pay for the print. I can either ship it to you, or of course this might change. Right now, All Things Kids is a free pickup location. Now, if they close, then we can either postpone pickup, or I can ship it to you with a small fee. But all the proceeds from all the sales will go back to the business. So for example, if you purchase the $10 All Things Kids print, then the proceeds from that print will go back to Karen at All Things Kids. And that's the same with all the other buildings. Redbird, that money will go to Paige. The Exchange, that money will go to the owners over at the Exchange.
Awesome. Well, again, we're talking to Rachel Hancock here this morning of Something Social, really helping out a lot of these businesses in the community, and just a very informative way to get your message across about this. And you said you've got about 11 or 12 of these prints so far. I'm showing more of them here. Talk a little bit about some of the businesses, if you don't mind, that you've already been able to do this for, Rachel.
Sure. The first painting that I did was the Exchange. If you're not familiar with that, they're located right on the square next to the spa, Novita and Scene Franny. But I shop there all the time. They're a consignment. So I bring in my clothing that I no longer want and I sell it there. And then the money that I get back, I use to buy more clothing. The manager there, Lauren, is just absolutely lovely. Anytime I'm feeling like I need a new type of style or a fresh type of style, I just ask Lauren, hey, can you find me something that I could wear to this particular event or a date night out? And she knows exactly what to fit me in. I love it. And then 309, we probably get coffee there, if not every day, at least every other day.
Oh, man, they have some incredible tea. I love tea, and I go there and I get their herbal tea, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I get their, what do they call it? It's tea and milk. And now the London Fog. The London Fog is very delicious. But yeah, I just, it was just an idea to help them in a difficult time. Who else did we do? So we did Redbird, love that shop.
You did Ken's Guitars, my buddy. I know, I saw that,
Ken's
which is
Guitars,
cool. Yeah,
that's right. I did. That one I think gave me a little bit of a hassle just because the symmetry was off just a little bit. I had to finagle it, but it all worked out.
Oh, I thought when you said that one gave me a little bit of a hassle, I thought you were talking about Ken, because I I wish that.
No, I don't think Ken could ever give anybody a hassle.
I wish he was here this morning because I always, and Ken's probably listening and watching. You know, the show, Ken and I started the show years ago. We did it on Facebook and then transitioned over to radio. But we were having a glass of wine at Gumbo's. And how many know when you have a glass of wine, things always kind of happen? And Ken and I just immediately started, let's do a morning show. And I'm always throwing jabs at Ken because he throws them back at me. So when you said that was the perfect saying. That one gave me – no, I'm just kidding, Rachel. But awesome stuff that you're doing, you know, helping out these businesses and just really trying to help them out financially through this downtime. You know, what if you're active down on the square, you come across a lot of people. What have you really seen as far as the mindset right now with a lot of business owners in our community? You know, how are they faring from this from what you've seen, Rachel?
Well, at first, I saw a lot of creativity. I saw a lot of thinking outside the box. Still, you know, they're rolling with the punches. Larkin Owl is selling puzzles right now and craft kits, and they're posting really creative, up-to-date material on their Facebook page. I know that Zane and myself have purchased quite a few puzzles from them because we know in the oncoming weeks we're going to want something to do. And the exchange, I keep bringing them up, but they post pictures of outfits or things that you can purchase to go pick up curbside. Gumbo's, like you were talking about, Gumbo's, they're doing takeout as well as a few other restaurants. The Monument, they're doing pickup, and I think Gumbo's and the Monument are also doing grocery lists where you can purchase and buy in bulk, which is super convenient considering our HEB.
And I think they're putting toilet paper in those grocery bags, which you know I'm still kind of wondering, where did this whole toilet paper gate start from, Rachel? You know, but that's so cool that they're doing that. So
yeah, I mean I think on one of Gumbo's posts at the bottom it says a $10 gift card to be used when the madness is over. You know, I feel like most of the business owners that I know, they're rolling with the punches, they're getting creative. And they're making a little bit of fun, a little bit of joke from a really serious situation, while still understanding the severity of the situation. They are staying in, and they are doing what they need to do to keep the spaces clean, to keep what they're giving clean. When I went and picked up a shirt from the exchange, Lauren said the shirt might be wet because I just sprayed it with Lysol, and I said, oh my goodness, thank you. I appreciate it.
You know that you know, as we're talking to Rachel Hancock here of Something Social this morning on Good Morning Georgetown. Rachel, you know the new perfume now and the new cologne also, it's all the same. Now men and women both have the same. It's Clorox and Lysol. That is the new fragrance. So we're excited about that. Well, hey, Garrick Long is here with us this morning from Huntsville, Texas. He has a question for you. Go ahead, Garrick.
Good morning, Rachel. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hey, okay, so I've been listening to you speak, and you have a Pop Funko behind you on the counter. Who is it?
Up there?
Yes.
I'll get him. This was a gift from my husband, and it's let's see if you can guess it. The mug says "World's Best Boss."
Is that from
If you're on Facebook Live, y'all can guess too. It's
Dundler Mifflin?
Yeah. He's from The Office. It's Michael Scott.
That's what I thought. Okay. I wanted to say Mike. I'll be okay. Don't roast me, but I've barely watched The Office. I know it's excellent. I know for me. I know. Here, give me a sec. I'm gonna go grab my my wife's most recent Pop Funko. It's right in front of me.
Well, see, we're just having a lot of fun this morning. You never know what's going to happen on Good Morning George. I didn't even know what you guys were talking about, Rachel. Tell for those now. There's people on Facebook that can see things. There's some that are on the app only. Talk. What exactly is it that you guys are talking about to describe it for our audio listeners?
So a Pop Funko is basically a figurine. It's probably an adult. It's probably the adult version of like an action figure. You know, these things are hugely collectible. And they're from like our favorite shows or video games or movies or whatever. So my wife owns both Night Fury, the Toothless, and the Light Fury. You know, we love the How to Train Your Dragon series. But She just got this one. I'm going to block out the name and what it's from, but see if you can guess it.
Is it Paul Blart? No.
Oh, that's actually very close. It's Farva from Super Troopers.
I never saw that.
Oh man, I saw these, Garrick, at Best Buy, and I had no idea what they were. So thank you for. See, I guess I'm like too much of an old man to not understand this.
Is that the short shorts guy?
Huh?
Does he wear really short shorts? Is that the guy I'm thinking of?
No, you're thinking of Reno 911.
Oh yeah, which I never saw that either. I just see memes.
Reno 911 is a classic. Honestly, all of them are hilarious. He wears the super short shorts, and he's going around on rollerblades. He loves showing them off, you know. But no, the best part, the reason why my wife picked this one up is because one of Farva has really two famous lines from the movie. And one of them was, he wants a liter of cola when he's ordering, and Farva came with a liter of cola. And so that's probably why my wife picked it up. Now I have 4 at my office. I have Wonder Woman because it makes me think of my wife. I have Thor from Infinity Wars because he has Stormbreaker in his hand. I just love saying Stormbreaker. I also have the first one I ever got. My wife found it at a Goodwill. It was Jay Garrick. He's one of the versions of the Flash, and so with my name being Garrick, it's very uncommon. So she found it. That's my favorite one. And I hate to say it, I can't think of the fourth one off the top of my head. Oh, I have Black Canary. She sits on my desk. She's actually out of the box, but yeah, man, we love finding these. We love finding like somewhat rare ones.
Mm-hmm.
So a buddy of mine just went over to the Philippines, where he's from. He came back. He went to one of their toy shops. He's talking like 20-foot walls, ceiling to floor, just filled with these things. It was incredible.
Hey guys, I have a question. How much do these things? I know it probably depends on, it depends on a number of factors as far as how rare they are and things like that. How much do these things usually cost?
Cheap, like $10.
What about the really rare ones?
Well, if you buy it on eBay, they'll go up in price. But the first 2 I bought them at Office Depot on clearance for $7.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's not like there's any value behind them. It's just it's more the meaning and the sentiment behind it. Because obviously, so what does Mike mean to you, Rachel, from The Office?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry if I put you on the spot.
See, Rachel, I think that Garrick is he's like way into this, Rachel, is what's going on. Rachel, do you guys just have one of these? You don't have more than one? Is it just one?
I have one, and then my husband, he has some on his work desk. I can't even off the top of my head. Maybe he'll text in the ones he has, but I can't remember. Oh, I think he might have the guy from the event. No, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm not even trying.
Well, what we'll do, you guys have inspired me now. I'm gonna have to find a couple of these, and we'll put them up here, somewhere in the studio. So we'll have fun with this. Well, Garrick, thanks for bringing that up, man. That's pretty entertaining. You never know what's gonna happen here on HRN. Thank you, Garrick.
Saw it, and that just made me so excited to see it. I was like, yes.
See, what Rachel should ask you, Garrick, is she's like, I've noticed a lot of spools of thread behind you. Are you good at sewing?
Not at all, but my wife is amazing. I'm actually posted up in her I wouldn't call it a she shed because it's actually inside of our house, but this is her sewing room. That's all her thread that she painted. That's her sign, KQC, Kits, Quilts, and Crafts.
Love it.
This is probably the cleanest corner of the room. If I turn the camera around, it's a freaking mess, man. She's got fabric everywhere. So recently, so not to go back to like the whole coronavirus thing, but she recently found a pattern to make face masks out of cloth as last resorts. And so she started making some. And most recently, what I have here next to me is she's making some out of a Batman pattern.
Oh, how cool is that?
Give to me. And then she has a pattern that's red that has hearts on it. She got this one for herself. That way, when she has it on her, she's an EMT, and so if they happen to run out, she has it on her. So that way, hers is less threatening than the Batman one, because she made a Batman one for my child, and when I see her sitting in the back seat out of the corner of my eye, I just see a person with a black mask, and I'm like, this is freaking me out. So, but no, my wife is actually this week on her days off. She's going to be making more of these masks, and she's going to be getting them out to our community.
Awesome. Well, a question for Rachel. Rachel, is there? I want to. It'd be. Now, this is a joke, but it would be kind of cool if there's a way to like print your watercolor prints onto these masks, and then we could sell masks with the prints on them.
I think that's a question for Minuteman. They might have to partner up with a local fabric company, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate Garrick for joining us as well. We're talking to Rachel Hancock of Something Social. Rachel, just a few more moments here. Wanted to give you an opportunity to once again plug how you are helping out businesses. I posted the link on the Facebook live stream as well, but it's somethingsocial.video, if I'm not mistaken, and then click on shop there. Somethingsocial.video. Click on the shop link at the top. Talk more about just these prints one more time for those that may be joining us, Rachel, and then how that's helping businesses here in Georgetown.
Yeah, so every day I am creating new watercolor paintings and taking them to Minuteman Press in Georgetown. They're making prints for me. And to stay on top of it, go to, as you said, that was correct, somethingsocial.video. Click on shop, and you'll see all of the prints that are available now. Each day there will be new prints added. If there is a building that you want specifically, message me, email me, let me know. Once the fundraiser is over, all the proceeds from all of the paintings will go back to the businesses. So for example, if you purchase the exchange and I sell 20 to 25 more exchange prints, that money that I have made, the proceeds will go back to the owners of the exchange.
Awesome. And for more information, again, it's somethingsocial.video. Click on shop. Man, sometimes I start like talking, Rachel, and I start feeling like Joshua Harris makes fun of me because I'll start talking and the words get jumbled up and it starts coming out like Sean Connery. It's like, visit somethingsocial.shop or somethingsocial.videos and then click on shop. It's just
Sean Connery.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. It just kind of comes out like that. But Rachel, thank you for being on the show here this morning. Any final thoughts from you, Rachel, for folks out there listening?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about my little project. I appreciate everyone that has already purchased. I think as of this morning, I'm almost at $700 total.
Wow.
I would like to double that by the end of the week. So if you're interested, the prints are only $10. It's a great way to support local. If you don't need what the Square is providing you, if you don't need what those businesses are offering, purchase a $10 print. Maybe purchase another one for a friend. I like them. I guess I'm a little.
No, we love them.
Artist, I would be a fan of the artwork, but go check them out. If you don't want them, share them. Share them with your friends. Share the posts that I'm updating. And but again, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, you bet. Whoa, I just got this weird little message here from Zoom saying a gift from Zoom running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute time limit. Okay, awesome.
Thanks, Zoom.
Yeah, thank you, Zoom. We're trying to help local businesses here, and you guys are going to try to cut us off. It's probably because Garrick, started showing those things that you guys have. I forget what they're called, and it was like, what is this? And it, whatever. I'm just kidding, guys. Well, Rachel, again, thanks for being here. Visit her online, something social. Now I've got that in the back of my mind. Somethingsocial.video, and then click on shop, and you can help businesses in the local community. Rachel, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thanks. Y'all have a good week.
You as well. Once again, that was Rachel Hancock of Something Social. Appreciate her being here on Good Morning Georgetown this morning. As we continue the program, Garrick Long joining us from Huntsville, Texas, here this morning, almost at afternoon, and we're excited to have you on, Garrick, and all of the awesome things that you're doing for the community in Huntsville. Garrick, how are things this morning in your neck of the woods, man, for those that are just joining us?
Honestly, I haven't been outside yet.
So there's nothing in the neck of the woods.
No, while I took a quick break while you were talking with Rachel, it sounds like what she's doing is absolutely amazing. For them being $10 prints and she's raised over $700, that is incredible. So, no, my 8-year-old is still sleeping. God, I wish I could do that again, you know? But no, I went and fed my 6 mini Aussie puppies, and when they eat, they're hounds. They just attack the food. So I have to go in there with boots on just to make sure they don't come after my ankles, because they don't get enough sometimes, or at least they feel like they don't, but they come out as roly-polies afterwards. But I'm actually looking at the bottom of this box of this Pop Funko. My wife paid $5 for this thing, you know? So it has no actual value. It's just it's the laughs and the sentiment that it brings you. So if you've seen Super Troopers, right?
Vaguely. You know, it's weird, man. People will ask me, you don't know what that movie is, or you don't, and it's funny because, you know, I'm running a radio station now, but it's like, you ask me what a song is, I can't tell you the history of it. You ask me maybe I should keep that on the DL, you know, but I, you know, just for me, I've seen it, Garrick, but, you know, don't think less of me. I really don't know a whole lot about it.
No, so one of the guys gets in trouble and he goes into dispatch duty. So Farva gets to go in the car with Ramathorn, and so they stop at like a burger joint to get some food. And so Farva's wanting to have fun and jokes, and he's wanting to do what all the other cops do. So he's going into this place and he's going to order, and he wants a liter of cola. And the guy working the counter is just not having. He's like, "Sir, we don't have a liter of cola." And so it turns into a fight. It's hilarious. Super Troopers is hilarious. I'm not plugging for them, but they have a new show out. I'm not going to say the name because I'm not going to plug it, but it's about firefighters, and so it's absolutely hilarious. And now with my wife being an EMT, you know, she's relating to it even more and more. So. Speaking of which, you probably heard it. She called me. She called me while we were on the air in the last hour. She was just letting me know she was on her way home. But she worked a possible coronavirus case last night.
Oh my goodness!
So she was driving, and they have it set up to where she was quarantined in the front of the truck. And so the paramedic and the other EMT were set up in they have proper safety gear to go in. She was not allowed to leave the front of the truck. You know, so that's how serious EMS services are taking it right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask from you know, your wife as an EMT. Of course, we're not going to give away a lot of, you know, any confidential information, but how are EMTs and those in the medical field handling this, Garrick? I mean, that's your wife right there on the front lines, basically.
You know what? They are absolutely amazing people, and sometimes first responders don't get enough credit. In this case, you know, the EMTs, police officers, firefighter, nurses, doctors, everyone, they are essential personnel right now. They're taking it in full stride. You know, they went into the medical field knowing that this is what could happen. You know, this is their opportunity to show the world not only how valuable they are, but just how big of hearts they have because they've chosen to go into that field. And so for my wife, you know, this is her second or third night on the job with this new company. And you know what, we're finding out every day how awesome this 911 service is that she's with now. They're top of the line. You know, they have procedures set up so when they get there, they all have to have their temperatures checked, and I think every other hour they get their temperature checked just to keep up with it. You know, they're constantly sending out emails with new information about what's going on with the coronavirus, you know, other ways to detect it, so on and so forth. Their department even put out a new 24-hour truck, so they had more trucks in that community that they serve, you know. So it's definitely it's a little nerve wracking just to think that my wife is out there, but I know that I trust her. I trust in God. I'm not worried about it. She's out there to help. She's taking care of people, and I know she'll be taken care of.
Yeah, man. Well, it's so critical right now, and I talked about this earlier. A lot of times on this show, as Garrick Host is our co-host, Garrick Long is our co-host this morning from remotely from Huntsville, Texas. Produces events for me on 101.7 KSAM and the fine work that those guys do down there in Huntsville, Texas. Garrick, it's I talk about inspiration on this show. I talk so much about just ideas that we can do to bring people together. And I think right now more than ever, I say it on every broadcast, and not to be cliche, but there may be people who are just joining us that have never joined this show before. And I say this and you've heard me, Garrick, because you produce the broadcast for me. I say it every time, and I do it on every broadcast, and I won't say the full phrase, but I always end it that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. And I think that message is so important now more than ever. And one way that we're not strong enough alone. We're not. One way that we can help each other right now is by staying put. And I know that seems kind of backwards, but it's the truth. We need to stay put right now. We need to listen to what our government is telling us as far as that goes. And I think that that's something, that no matter what political side that you're on, or even if you're not political at all, that we can all agree on, is that we have to protect especially those that are the most vulnerable. We're talking about the elderly population, those with weak immune systems. Garrick, I really don't, not to be pessimistic, but I think this is going to be something that's going to drag on for several months. I really don't even know if school is going to resume. What's the mindset there in the Huntsville community? I asked you that in the first segment, but what have you – I know you haven't gotten out a whole lot, but you've talked about still working in a store. You talked earlier about the ridiculousness of a lady bringing a newborn baby into a store, which is just absurd at this point. What's the general mindset, though, there in Huntsville and Southeast Texas, man?
So first off, my wife just texted me. She now says she's listening. So shout out to you, babe. I love you. But you talk about school. I've got an 8-year-old. She's in 2nd grade. She is missing school right now. Sunday night, she's like, hey, so am I going to school tomorrow? I was like, no. She goes, but it's been 2 weeks. I was like, listen, I would love for you to go back to school. One thing our school district's doing, which I actually seeing a lot do, is our school district is considered actually a more of a poor school district. So what we run into is that there's a lot of families and there's a lot of kids out here who rely on the school district to my mom is listening as well. Hey mom, thank you for your family help in the house. She's in Mexico, by the way. My mom lives in Mexico.
Oh wow.
She wanted to get away. She wanted to get away from all the craziness here, and so she's living in paradise right now. She has a monkey that comes and visit her. She sent me the monkey. He just comes and sits on her fence and terrorizes her dogs. It's hilarious.
Did she leave? Continue your thought on the other, and then I want to ask you about your mom down there in Mexico, man.
Sounds good. So the school district is providing lunches every single day. Well, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You go to your school. You have to bring your child, so that way you're not picking up the food for yourself. But they will give you a bag of food for lunch for the children. So, for example, yesterday I took my daughter around there at 12:30. We went and she got a sack lunch. It had a grilled cheese in there, celery sticks with some ranch, donuts for the breakfast for the next morning, 2 things of orange juice and some other stuff. And the first instinct my daughter got when she saw this was like, whoa, this is a lot of food, so for her, getting to go drive by her school that she dearly misses. She gets to see a familiar face from some of the cafeteria workers, and she gets to pick up food is awesome. And then another thing our school district's doing is that the buses, today's Tuesday, right? So the buses are going to be running their normal afternoon routes 2 hours early, and they're going to be dropping off a week's worth of food to every child that shows up at the bus stop, which is absolutely incredible. There's a lot of people that depend on our school district in this area for their nutrition needs. And it's amazing to see our school district step up and continue to fulfill that need, even though they can't bring in the children each day like they would want to.
Yeah, well, I think it's critical right now, and our superintendent here and all of the school districts here in Williamson County are doing what they can to continue to provide food. It's the things that, especially for me, not being a parent, Garrick, that you sometimes don't think about, and there's kids that still need to be able to eat, of course, and you talk about parents who have to work and daycare and all of that kind of stuff has been affected. We've seen so much with musicians not being able to perform in public venues, which is their source of income. We've seen people in the broadcasting and journalism industries. In fact, when I watch the news at night, I'm seeing out of Austin, I'm seeing these reporters, on remotely on broadcasting out of their living room. They'll have one person at the studio, and then when they're a brand new reporter because it's like this small little apartment, and then as they grow and they're in their business, I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying it's like these guys just started out, so you've got these guys in their small apartments, and in Austin you got to have a small apartment because you can't afford to live there, Oh,
absolutely.
And so that's what it's been.
Like it was when we were in Houston. We couldn't. We were having a hard time finding a family of 4.
Yeah, it's just tough, man, but everybody is kind of doing what they need to do right now to get by. Fox News headlines, for instance, on Sirius XM 114, I believe is the channel. I listen to the Fox News headlines on Sirius XM, and it's weird because in the media industry, you generally don't talk about when you have technical issues over the air. That's just kind of a given. You don't really talk about that. But on Fox News headlines yesterday, the guy just broke in. He's like, "Thank you for standing by with us. We've been having a lot of technical issues this past week, just because we're working many of us out of our homes. In fact, I'm working out of my home right now, and hopefully in the coming weeks we can get this figured out to where I won't be cutting out and dropping off or something." And as soon as he said that, it dropped off, and I was just laughing, man. I actually went back on my phone and I recorded it just so I have a copy of it, Garrick. So, well, hey, this morning we're talking to Garrick Long here. We got about 15 minutes left on Good Morning Georgetown. I want to thank everybody for joining us here this morning. By the way, if you enjoy this show, we enjoy having you as a guest. It's very important for us that we will continue to bring this show to you every morning. We're going to provide news and the latest on what's going on, not only here in the Georgetown community, but, of course, on the national level as well. If you enjoy this show, one way that you can help us, and we provide a lot of benefit to the Georgetown community and here in Williamson County, very simple. Just go to hrngeorgetown.com and /support. That is hrngeorgetown.com/support. If you're a business, we would love to help bring exposure to your business. We're able to do that through our platform. Again, just go to hrngeorgetown.com/support, and we can tell you on how to get started with what we're doing here. Very excited about the opportunities that we have to continue to bless businesses here in Georgetown. Garrick, even through this whole situation, we've been able to get 3 new advertising investors or sponsor investors on the station here in the past couple of days. And so we're excited about that because we're going to continue to work hard to promote businesses here in Williamson County and throughout Georgetown. Again, well, Garrick here with us. Go ahead, Garrick.
That's what's impressive about your internet radio is that you don't have to rely on the person to be in their car to listen to it. For you, no matter where someone is, their radio is on their phone. They can listen to it. They can be part of the community. They can still feel connected. And that way you don't have to worry about getting out there and getting the coronavirus because you wanted to listen to the radio, So it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, and I believe in radio. I believe in what this industry does, and so for those businesses who have taken the plunge in investing, your dollar is worth every penny, and those who are still thinking about it, it's absolutely almost a necessity when it comes to a small town like Georgetown, because here in Huntsville, all we have is KSAM or all we have is KHVL The Hits. Same radio station, but we live just far enough to where we can't get anything from Houston, or it's going in and out and the sound quality is not there. So Georgetown is a community. It resembles what we do here in Huntsville, and radio is a part of that. And I think it was genius of you to bring such a great product to the town that's also free. It's free to listen to. So
yeah, well, I appreciate that, Garrick. And you talk about a very valid thing that even traditional radio, FM AM radio, here in this area, we have a local nonprofit station that I'm on the board of. I support them 100%. They give back so much to local artists, and I believe in what they're doing, and will continue to support that. But as far as a commercial station goes, we don't have an established commercial radio station in Georgetown, and that was really my thought process towards the end of December. In fact, my buddy Nathan had an app on his phone. He's like a brother to me. I love Nathan, man. He and I have been friends since we were in, honestly, almost grade school together. He helps me out a lot, and he had an app on his phone, and just this idea clicked that was like, hey, man, if we could do a commercial station in Georgetown, that would be huge. Because we have our nonprofit station that helps out a lot with local artists, but what is there that we can really promote businesses on a commercial level? And that's kind of how everything worked out. With that being said, though, you talked about KSAM and KHVL there in Huntsville. Those stations are established as commercial stations. They've been there for so long, and they do such tremendous work in that community. I talk about Georgetown and about how community-driven we are here in this community. That's one reason that I really fell in love with Huntsville. And the radio station there, as you know, Garrick, because you work with them, you produce for me, of course, you do a lot with the station. Heck, you've even voiced over some commercials. I've heard that sexy Garrick Long voice coming across the airwaves there on 101.7.
Hey, Huntsville, this is Garrick from your local Sears hometown store.
And it's so cool, though, because the way that community embraces that commercial radio station and really a truly a station that gives back to the Huntsville area. We saw it with MASH, with the Make a Smile Happen every year, and just the work that you guys continue to do has been amazing. And that is one cool thing about radio, is that it's a medium, and I love the internet aspect of it because I'm not regulated by the FCC. I don't have anybody telling me you can't say
Thank
that or
goodness.
do that. But they're listening, right? You know, it was funny. What was it, 2 days ago? It was on Friday, the morning show. I had a buddy of mine from Colorado that had called in. We were talking to him via phone, and he mentioned President Trump. And as soon as I better watch out. As soon as he did, the stream went dead. That's never happened. So anyway, well, Garrick, you talked about your mom in Mexico, man. Do you mind sharing a little bit more, about maybe kind of what she's facing down there, right? Did she go down there to vacation, or is she living there?
No, my mom's lived there for a few years now, dude. My parents unfortunately separated back when I was 16 years old. And so they lived too close, and my mom was just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm doing what I want to do. And so she packed everything up. She packed her dogs up. She flew to Mexico, and she's been renting down there ever since, and she loves it. And honestly, it's probably been the best thing for her mental health as well, because I huge night and day difference from how she was up here to how she is down there. She's gotten her smile back. She's gotten her happiness back. It's been great. And so luckily for me, she's also a realtor. She still is able to work as a realtor. She's got a partner that lives in Texas. And so she's helping us, hopefully, cross our fingers, purchase a house. And so, but no, she's been amazing. And so down there, she was telling me that bars have been slowly starting to close, and restaurants are slowly starting to close. They're just not as populated. It's not the population isn't as dense there as it is here. So it's not much to worry about. She's down in Playa del Carmen area, which is about 30 minutes south of Cancun, is where she's located.
Man, that is and so how is it down there in Mexico right now? I mean, is she okay, or how is the situation down in there, man? You're talking to your mom daily, I would assume.
Yeah, no, she's doing great. I'm surprised she hasn't texted me yet, trying to give me correct information, but there it is. There's the 3 dots. But no, she she's doing fine. She's still able to go out, get groceries, no big deal. She says all the tourists are gone. So it's all locals at this point, or expats. So expats are basically short for expatriates, Americans who have moved down there, or Canadians who've moved down there.
I thought you meant ex-Patriots fans who were upset that Tom Brady left. So they moved to Mexico. They were so mad that he left. They just ex-Patriots fans.
No. That would be funny though. Hey, have you seen those memes of what Tom Brady looks like now that he's gone to Tampa Bay?
I have not, man.
Almost looking like Lamar Jackson.
I have not seen those, man. That's hilarious. So,
one of your masks.
Well, we're here with Garrick Long in Huntsville, Texas, joining us on Good Morning Georgetown this morning. Quickly wanted to go over some news, though. We talk a little bit about news here, of course, and what's going on around Georgetown. Later today, it's been reported last night from KXAN that Williamson County will go to a shelter-in-place alongside of Travis County. What does that exactly mean for you? Well, you'll find out tomorrow on Good Morning Georgetown, or as soon as that order is posted. We'll talk more about what does that mean for you. Garrick, a lot of folks are scared about that. It doesn't mean that you've got to lock yourself in your house. It basically just means, hey, stay in your house. If you still got to go run to the office and grab something, that should be okay. But it's really non-essential workforce, stay at home. It's not telling people that you can't get out and go to your office if you got to grab something. It's not saying that you can't go get food at a restaurant. That's not what it is. It's basically a shelter in place saying if you're non-essential workforce, stay at home, and really please stay at home. I've been frustrated because I've had to go out a couple of times in the community to pick up a few things. Garrick, yesterday I saw numerous people, and it's hard not to because we do have the most beautiful town square in Texas, as it's called. There's the mask. But there are people, Garrick, that are still all over downtown walking around. And I think that especially now with the 4 cases, and Garrick now understands that, this virus hopefully can't be transmitted through the internet. He's wearing his gas. I'm just kidding. But, it is a serious thing, though, Garrick, and people have got to take it more serious. I like that mask, by the way, man. It's, as I was saying, take it more serious.
Take it off. No, my wife actually just got home.
Throw that back on, dude.
Huh?
Throw that back on, man. I like that, Matt. Okay. Throw that back on. There you go. So Garrick Long's wife, Garrick, by the way, joining us in Huntsville, Texas, via remote, about 160 miles away. His wife is making those masks. She's an EMT. So, Garrick, you're looking good, man. I like that.
Listen, I only look good because my wife is able to make me look good. So,
hey, and sometimes you need a windscreen on your microphone. I think you just put a windscreen right there on your mouth, and it turns out pretty good, man.
And then this is hers. This is the one that she made, and then she put a cross on it. Unfortunately, like the top jewel already fell off. But this is the one that she made for herself that she carries with her in her EMT pants when she's out there. So,
man, that is awesome. Well, tell your wife, let her know you already know this, but I'm going to tell her she's very talented and just awesome, and appreciate her being on the front lines as well, man. There's an EMT.
No, she is an absolutely amazing woman. She has the heart the size of Texas, so I'm lucky to have her. She's standing here right next to me. She just got home.
Well, Garrick, we've got about 4 more minutes here this morning. Just wanted to read a little bit here. Sometimes we go over some information from the New York Times. This today, the Senate is nearing a deal on virus relief. We talked about that earlier. Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, said he expected to have an agreement this morning with Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin on nearly a $2 trillion economic package to respond to the coronavirus pandemic. Democrats blocking that action plan on Monday, demanding stronger protection for workers and restrictions for bailed-out businesses. Of course, I don't want to get political, but this article won't mention that they also wanted energy credits for solar and things like that. Of course, they're not going to mention that in this article.
Don't forget that they also want airlines to completely offset their carbon emissions.
And this is
because that's important to the American worker.
Yeah, and this is why I think that they did need to talk about this a little bit more. But the urgency is, look, there's folks that are out of work right now. There's people that are hurting right now. There are people that have families that are worried sick about what's going to happen next. And the thing is, we need to put all that stuff aside, and we need to focus on the people and not try to – because you know how they do, man, and it's on both sides. People know me. I tend to lean a little more conservative, but it happens on both sides. is they try to throw in these little caveats there with these bills and just kind of, hey, if it's a 100-page bill, let's just throw this on, page 92. It's like a search result on Google. A lot of folks will either look at the very beginning or they'll get bored and they'll go to the very end. They never look at what's in the middle. That's the same way, man. And so we've got to focus on people in this nation, in our communities as well. Hopefully when they make this announcement, both sides can come to an agreement. Other developments this morning, President Trump suggesting that the shutdown to halt the spread of the virus would not be extended. He said, as quoted, if it were up to the doctors, they'd say let's shut down the entire world. The president said relaxing the restrictions could significantly increase the death toll from the virus, public health officials warn. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, has been a frequent presence at the White House briefings where he has reportedly contradicted Mr. Trump's assertions. Dr. Fauci did not attend Monday's briefing. However, the Federal Reserve has essentially pledged to do whatever it takes to keep the economy from collapsing, primarily by buying debt. And Prime Minister Boris Johnson brought Britain into alignment with the lockdowns across. It's hard to read the news professionally. I love that, man. Across Europe, closing all non-essential shops and requiring people to stay in their homes except for trips for food or medicine. Those are some of the headlines this morning. Garrick, thanks for being with us, man. Kind of your final thoughts on just today and how we're all going to get through this, man.
First off, this has been a blast. So if you need me tomorrow, I got you. I think we need to start taking this just a little bit more seriously. One more step each day, take it a little bit more seriously, less going out, less normal routines. Your new normal needs to be inside. Too many people are taking advantage of this and not doing the right thing. We've got to protect each other in this instance. And so the best way to protect somebody else is to stay inside and not have contact with people, so I can guarantee that those that are in the medical field want us probably calling us stupid for not staying inside at this point. So.
Well, Garrick, I appreciate you, man. We're going to have you back on the show, but the thing is, if we keep doing this more often, I'm going to have to start paying you, so what? There was a calendar event.
You know what? We can talk about that off air.
Rob, we can talk about it now. Well, Garrick, appreciate being here. Hey, before we go, I wanted to show it's 9:00 now, so we're going to sign off here in just a bit. But if you're also kind of glancing at the Facebook stream there, Garrick, just earlier, I love. Some people hate the time change. I kind of love the time change after it happens, after a few months. But, man, this morning, and the reason I say that is because, you get up earlier and it stays darker later. I got up this morning, and if you're seeing it there on Facebook, I had a nice big old deer in my backyard. Now, people from up north are going to laugh and say that's nothing because their deer up there, there's something in the water and the grass up there up north, man, in the Dakotas. Those deer are huge. But
they're monsters.
The other night, we had about 30 or 40 deer crossing through the neighborhood. We have them all the time out here. But this morning, that little guy or that bigger guy was looking at me. I say bigger. He was a little bit bigger than normal deer that I have in the yard. That one doesn't look like it, but he was maybe 60 feet away. But that dude was just out there chilling in my backyard, didn't even move. And I started moving towards him, and he just stood there. And so, I just wanted to share that. A little picture of a deer. How about that, Garrick?
That makes me think we were looking at houses, and this house was right next to this probably 8 acres, and they had cows on it. And some of the cows were getting close to the fence. I started walking towards that fence. I started mooing at them just to try to get the cows to come closer because they probably didn't have a lot of human interaction. I'm just thinking, shut up.
Garrick's talking to his wife in the back. That's what the chatter is there on the side chat. He's got a happy wife, happy life. Garrick's taking care of business.
And so I'm standing at the fence. I'm mooing at him like, Mrr. I'm trying to get this cow to come towards me, and the cow probably walks a good 5 feet towards me. I moo at her again and just about faces and walks off the other direction. So your deer story made me think of the cow story.
Oh, that's good, man. Well, Garrick, thanks for being here and say hello to everybody back in Huntsville, Texas. So many wonderful folks there. And, You know, if Georgetown, I know we have like an official sister city, but if it was up to me, I would name Huntsville as like the official sister city of Georgetown for sure.
What is your sister city?
I have no idea. What is y'all's, man? Do you know?
New Waverly.
New Waverly. That's up near Waco, man.
No, just south of us.
Oh, I thought New Waverly was up near Waco.
No. New Waverly's just south of us. They're probably the next biggest city in Walker County. You know, maybe Riverside is technically our sister city because they still technically have a Huntsville address. I don't know, man. Huntsville's so large, it's basically taken over the county.
Yeah. They don't call it brother city, it's sister city. Yeah, I've never heard of a brother city. Have you?
If it was brother cities, they'd be fighting.
Okay.
Right?
I guess.
Brothers fight.
My brother and I didn't fight a whole lot.
We always fought. We still are.
Hey, your necklace got a little bling going on there with the light hitting it. You know, that's
So this one, my mom gave me. It's just my initials.
That's
and
awesome.
And then this was the first gift I ever got from my wife.
Wow.
At the first time when we were first dating, I lived in Huntsville. She was in San Marcos. And it basically talks about no matter how far apart we are, our love is still strong. And so I've had that on my neck ever since.
Garrick, you're a man's man. Let's be honest, okay, Garrick? And I'm going to tell you something. For all the guys that are out there watching and the husbands and the boyfriends and the fiancés, I'm going to get ripped after this show, by the way, because you've been talking about your wife the whole time, which is awesome. We love, not the whole time, but you've been talking about your wife. Right. That's good. And then, you're wearing a necklace from like the first gift. I don't know how any guy can outdo that, and we're all going to be in trouble now because of your presence today. Thank you, Garrick.
You're welcome. You know what she just told me? She said she lost hers.
Oh, man. It's not reciprocating back.
No, and no clue.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Garrick, thanks again for being here, man. We'll have to do this again sometime soon. Again, say hello to all the wonderful folks back in Huntsville, Texas. We love them. And just everybody across the nation. And those that are watching here on Facebook Live and listening on the HRN app, we truly appreciate you and being part of this show. Garrick, thanks for being here, man. It's been fun this morning, and we'll definitely have to have you back soon.
Like I said, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for this.
Well, once again, Garrick Long joining us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning on Good Morning Georgetown, as we will have more on what's going on with the coronavirus and other issues throughout, not just here in Georgetown, but throughout Central Texas. So make sure that you keep it tuned in right here. Friends, as I end every broadcast, and we're going to have news and weather, so make sure that you stay tuned in to hear those latest updated headlines from across the nation. But friends, as I remind you on every single broadcast, we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. Friends, we need each other. Provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. Somebody out there, especially this morning, needs you. Good morning, Georgetown, and God bless. We'll see you bright and early back at 7 a.m. right here on the Hipp Radio Network and Good Morning Georgetown. Have a wonderful, blessed day, everyone.
Here's your Georgetown forecast from the Hipp Radio Network Weather Center. Lots of sunshine outside today with highs around 86. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight. Lows level off around 56. Ample sunshine expected again tomorrow. Highs around 88. Partly cloudy skies Thursday. Clouds on the increase by Friday. Highs in the upper 80s. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 66 degrees.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
After a bipartisan deal came out of the U.S. House late last week, only to fall apart when it reached the Senate, now congressional leaders and White House officials say they are ready to close in on a deal on a coronavirus relief package. They say that negotiations late yesterday on a $2 trillion arrangement will lead to a successful vote perhaps this evening. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Treasury Chief Steve Mnuchin both saying they were on the phone with President Trump during the negotiations, and they both agree that a deal is now within reach. Earlier yesterday, Schumer and other top Democrats are calling the package, as it had been designed, a
large corporate bailout with no protections for workers and virtually no oversight.
The U.S. now cutting $1 billion in aid to Afghanistan because of the failure of a peace plan with the Taliban. And this is USA Radio News.
Maybe you can relate to this. A lot of people think they're stuck with their health plan. It costs too much, or for whatever reason, they just don't like it. But great news, you are not stuck with it. There is a choice. It's called MediShare, and you could save so much. The typical savings for a family is $500 a month. Major difference maker. This is the affordable alternative to health insurance. And just to give you a little more info about MediShare, it's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. It's worked beautifully for 26 years, has more than 400,000 members, and they've shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So yes, they can help share your needs too. So you're not stuck. There's an excellent alternative, whether you're single or married, you got a family. MediShare is super flexible. You can choose an option that works for you and start saving lots of money. You can join anytime. They're great to talk to, no pressure. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
President Trump trying to reassure Americans in the face of the coronavirus outbreak.
I want Americans to know that we will get through this challenge. The hardship will end. It will end soon. Normal life will return, and our economy will rebound very, very strongly.
President Trump speaking at the daily coronavirus briefing at the White House, making the point that America was not built to be shut down.
But right now, in the midst of this great national trial, Americans must remain united in purpose and focused on victory. To every single American, please know that the sacrifice you're making at this time is saving lives.
That report filed by USA Radio's Robin Walensky. Severe thunderstorms are expected to pound much of the South today, with heavy rain through this evening from eastern Arkansas to Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and parts of Georgia. And there could be some tornadoes. This is USA Radio News.
You know, I've told you I get the best sleep of my life with my MyPillow, but I'm not the only one. Mark in Las Vegas told me the other day, we were talking on other business, he says he went to MyPillow.com, clicked on the radio listener special, and used the promo code USA. He got a great deal on a MyPillow, and he is enjoying his sleep now. You can too. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special, use my promo code USA, and I promise you, you'll get the best sleep of your life or you get your money back.
A key Federal Reserve policymaker predicting pretty bad things about the nation's economy. For one thing, James Bullard, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, says the unemployment rate could hit 30% this year as a result of the pandemic. And he says the economy could also see a 50% drop in gross domestic product in the second quarter of the year. But looking ahead, Bullard does say he would expect the economy to then start to rebound sometime later this year. Kent State University canceling the May 4th shooting commemoration because of the outbreak. University officials announcing that all 50th anniversary events have been canceled. A virtual program, though, is in the works so that the school can honor the 4 students who were shot and killed by National Guardsmen during a Vietnam War protest on campus back in 1970. And Amazon is trying to help keep kids entertained while they're in quarantine because of the pandemic. The company has made most of its kids shows and movies free, from certain PBS shows to a list of nearly 100 family-friendly movies. To access all the free movies and shows, you just sign in with a valid Amazon account. And you can log on and check us out online at usaradio.com. For USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
Here's your Georgetown forecast from the Hip Radio Network Weather Center. Lots of sunshine outside today with highs around 86. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows level off around 56. Ample sunshine expected again tomorrow, highs around 88. Partly cloudy skies Thursday, clouds on the increase by Friday, highs in the upper 80s. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 66 degrees.
Broadcasting worldwide from the Ashby Real Estate Broadcast Studio. This is Hip Radio Network, Georgetown, your hometown station.